Steve. Meanwhile, to the Gulf. It's day 70 into the Gulf crisis, and as oil keeps gushing into the water, the Jones Act remains in place. That means foreign ships that want to come help in U.S. waters can't unless it's lifted by the president. Florida Senator George LeMieux sent President Obama a formal letter asking him to waive the Jones Act and allow international cleanup equipment into the Gulf. He's joining us this morning from Pensacola. Okay, you know, Senator, so many people say every skimmer on the planet should be down there in the Gulf off the coast of Florida and Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana, and they're not. And you think it's because of the Jones Act. Why?
Well, I think that's part of the problem. They cite the Jones Act. They cite other legal encumbrances that are keeping these ships from coming to the Gulf of Mexico. I can't even get a straight answer, Steve, as to how many there are off the coast of Florida. The state of Florida tells me 61. The federal government, the Coast Guard, tells me 118. Whatever the case, that's not enough. We know from information I received from the Coast Guard last week that between Texas and South Carolina alone, there's more than 800 skimmers. Why all of those skimmers aren't in the Gulf cleaning up the oil doesn't make any sense. 2,000 skimmers domestically. Offers of foreign assistance, 56 offers, only 7 accepted. Whether it's the Jones Act or some other legal restriction that's going to require these ships to do something in conformance with U.S. law, all of that should be waived. I'm going to file legislation to do that today, not only to waive the Jones Act, but to waive any legal restrictions, because we need all the help we can get.
Senator, it just seems crazy to me that with the pressure that this administration has been under, with the response given to this oil spill, that they would continue to not address this and say, hey, this is exactly why we're not lifting the Jones Act, or this is exactly why those 800 skimmers are sitting out there and we're not using them. But you were face to face with the president about a week ago, were you not? And when you asked him that question, what did he say?
Well, you're right, Gretchen. I asked the president in Pensacola Beach about a week ago and said, look, we hear that there are all these skimmers around the country. Why aren't they in the Gulf? And he said, basically, well, there are places they have to be in case there's an oil spill.
Right.
And honestly, you know, that's like saying your house is burning down, but I can't send the fire truck because we may need it for another fire.
Sure.
The people in the Gulf are very worried about this. I walked down on the beach this morning. I saw tar pebbles all over the beaches, including some big, what I would call tar rocks about the size of grapefruits on the beach. We need more help here in the Gulf.
Well, it's so troubling, especially given the fact that there's a Louisiana State University professor who has called on BP and the federal government to okay the use of a Taiwanese skimmer. It's import, I think, in Virginia right now. It's called a whale, and apparently they say this thing is so big it could actually scoop up in a day or a day and a half what all the other crews have done in 66 days, and yet it's in dry dock. Well, it's in dock.
Well, I understand it is steaming its way towards the Gulf, even though it doesn't have approval yet. I'm going to do everything I can to get that ship and ones like it into the Gulf. I was trying and have brought up the point about another ship called the Swan.
Yeah.
That was a huge Dutch ship that was offered to us that we never got back to the Dutch company. It could have soaked up 20,000 pounds of oil or water mixture a day.
Wow.
So why aren't we having these big ships? I'm going to do everything I can to get a whale and whatever vessel there is out there that's a super skimmer into the Gulf to do the work.
Well, keep us posted, Senator, because you are going to introduce that legislation today. Let us know what happens. Senator George LeMieux, Republican from Florida. Thank you. Troubled tennis.